So today we are going to be talking about composition. Composition is a very simple subject, but it can really take your photography to the next level. Now you can be a master of the technical ability of your camera. You can have the latest camera, the latest lens, spend all your wages on the greatest tech. But if you don't get your composition on par, your photos are just going to look ordinary and you're not going to capture the viewer's attention. Now, some of you might be thinking that photography is an art form and therefore it's subjective. And yes, you'd be right. But if we take music as an example, music has a certain pitch and a certain pattern to it. I mean, I'm not a musician, I don't know the technical words, but good music follows a certain rule book that makes it good. Now, you don't have to be a musician to know what sounds good and what is made by a professional musician and what is just some, average Joe just banging on some pots and pans. You can tell the difference instinctively. And the same goes for photography. You can instinctively tell photos that have been done by a professional, somebody who spent hours and hours, weeks after week, year after year, a good chunk of their life studying photography. There's layers to it, there's leading lines, there's composition, there's balance, there's color balance, there's so many different elements that come together to make a photo a good quality photo. Now, when you think of composition, you're probably already familiar with the terms like the rule of thirds or the golden ratio, but there are far more things that people need to think about. Now, all these things can seem quite simple when you hear them, but it can be quite tricky to apply them to your work, especially when you're out there in the elements, clothes, you've been walking, you've got all your equipment out. To remember all these elements can be difficult. That's where practice comes in, you see. Day after day, week after week, year after year, you will slowly learn different techniques and add them to your photography to take it up a level. Try not to learn everything at once because it will just be overwhelming. So take an element, apply it again, learn until it sinks in, and then move on. So basically, that's a bit of a long introduction. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to be speaking about is to define your subject, to pick your subject. Now that does sound quite simple, but a lot of people get mixed up when it comes to this and try to apply too many elements in a photo. So your subject could be a person, portrait for example, it could be a car, it could be a mountain, a house, a boat, whatever it might be. You need to define your subject and make that stand out in your frame. What you're doing here is giving a focal point to the viewer and giving the viewers something to concentrate on, something to focus on, making it obvious what your story is about. And you cannot apply the rules of composition if you don't know what your subject is. Now, what is the most important thing in your photo, in your frame? What are you trying to show the viewer? What story are you trying to tell? Before creating a focal point, you need to understand how to emphasize that subject. If everything in your frame has the same importance, the same level, then you're just going to confuse the viewer. The viewer doesn't know where to draw their attention and the frame is just going to look messy and people are just going to flick past it or walk past it and it's not going to hold anyone's attention. So here you need to think about the relationship between perspectives. So big and small, what's in the foreground, what's in the background, the lighting, how the light is shaping, how the light is falling on your subject. These are all things that are going to help your subject stand out from the frame. Think about what you want your viewers to see first and then what you want them to see next in the frame. For example, here in this picture that I took in London, just outside the Tate on the Millennium Bridge, you can see I'm using leading lines to create depth and allow the viewer's eye to lead to the subject. There's a single subject, it's obvious what the focal point is in the frame. Your eye's not darting around the frame trying to work out where to look. your eyes instantly jump onto the lines and it leads you to the subject. Very simple, very clean, very straightforward. See, as we walk around the streets or we drive around in our car, we don't remember all the faces that we see, all the billboards that we see, all the registration plates that we see, unless there is a reason to remember that ad, that car, that person. Does it strike some kind of emotion in you? Does it bring some sort of memory and some sort of story? That's when we remember things, when they stir up some sort of emotion. So doing this gives a reason for the viewer to pay attention to your frame, and it will draw them in to your photo. And I'm not necessarily talking about the context of your frame. We're talking about composition here, solely talking about composition. Your job as a photographer is to practice and do all the hard work before you actually take the photo. So when you do take the photo and you show it to your viewers, it's easy for them to recognize what the subject is and what's not so important in that frame. Your viewers should be able to figure out straight away, intuitively, what they're looking at, and they don't necessarily need to understand, or they don't need to understand at all why they're looking at it or why it's appealing. Going back to the music example, I'm not a musician, but certain types of music, they draw me in because somebody has spent a large chunk of their life understanding the patterns of music, how to add percussion, how to add the beat, how to add the bass line. There's a certain way to do things. When we look at furniture, you know, I made furniture when I was back in high school and I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, it looked okay. But there are certain types of furniture that just look beautiful. And that's because somebody has spent a lot of time and a lot of hours understanding design of furniture. The same goes for cars, the same goes for food, the same goes for anything. We don't necessarily need to be a master of food to enjoy great food, but there's chefs out there that have spent all their lives perfecting the layers and the textures and the temperatures and so on. This applies to photography. Now, there are many ways to attract the viewer's attention to your frame and to your subject, and one of the most obvious ones is your focal point. Obviously, if you want your viewers to focus on the subject of your frame, then your subject needs to be in focus. You can also use lighting to create contrast and help your subject stand out from the crowd, stand out from the background. And also human subjects, human faces. We're human and we're instantly drawn to somebody that's in a frame. If you just have an empty frame, a landscape with clean lines, your eyes can be drawn to the different areas. But as soon as you stick a person in there, straight away, your eyes are going to go to that person first, and then you're going to look at the background. You see, our brain likes to and will be drawn to things that it is used to seeing. And there is nothing more that is used to seeing than a human face or a human figure. When we see people and their actions and their facial expressions, we instantly connect with them. Now, you can also use color and patterns to draw more attention to your subject. And this is a technique that a lot of painters have used in the past. Now, a lot of the time, say, 80, 90% of the time, your subject will be the closest thing to the camera. And this is how a lot of beginners start. And it is a good way to start. And as you start to advance and go on your photography journey, you can then start to add layers to your frame. And you can use foreground elements to actually frame your subject. So your subject could be far in the background or in the midground, and you could use foreground elements to help support your subject. So the basic rule here is to make your subject more prominent using focus, framing, lighting, leading lines, and so on. You want your subject to stand out in the frame. Leading lines, as we touched on earlier with the example, are a very powerful way and easy way to draw your your audience attention to your subject. Look at these examples here. You don't all necessarily need your subject just to be bang in the middle. You can use geometric shapes and leading lines to lead the viewer's eye to your subject. Okay, I'll just jump into this video very quickly. If you'd like to buy me a coffee and help support this channel and all the free videos and information that I put out, there is a link below. Subscribe, help this channel grow and grow this community. Let's get back to the video. So now we can talk about where to place our subjects in the frame. So let's go back to the rule of thirds, for example. So most of you already know what the rule of thirds is, but for those of you that don't, here's an example. The rule of thirds is breaking down your frame into 3 segments, horizontally and vertically, like you can see right now, basically into 9 rectangles. So using the rule of thirds in composition, you would place your subject along one of these lines and one of these points. This will make your frame a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting to the viewer. You'll see this a lot in movies. A lot of times in movies, you won't see somebody bang in the middle of the frame. You'll see them off to one side, along the left vertical line or along the right vertical line. Now, sometimes you will need to put your subject bang in the middle of the frame. Here, you will still use the rule of thirds. This time, we're not using the vertical lines, we're using the horizontal lines. So here, you don't want to put your eye level of your subject on the bottom horizontal line because it will make them look really small. And you don't want to put them too high up in the frame because then you're just going to end up chopping off their heads. So here, in this example, when your subject needs to be in the middle, maybe you're doing a portrait or something, you want the the subject's eye along the top horizontal line, somewhere thereabouts. This will give good balance to the frame and make it a lot more pleasing to the viewer. The rule of thirds is used a lot in landscape and in architectural photography. So when you're doing rule of thirds in landscape, for example, you can use it to break up the foreground and the sky elements, and it will give good balance to your photo. So another thing that we can think about when it comes to composition is movement in our frame. You see, we're trying to tell a story and our brain loves to fill in the blanks and it always wants a story to follow. It is our job as a photographer and a storyteller to take our viewers on the journey. Also, remember that you also have the permission to shoot from different angles. You don't always have to shoot from eye level. Shooting at a lower level or a higher level can add a totally different dynamic to your photography. So one thing that I always say is that when you're out there and you're taking photos, just take a bit of time, take a step back and add more space to your frame. Take a step forwards and go into your frame. Go lower down, go higher up, go at a 45-degree angle. Don't just take one photo and disappear. Giving different perspective to your photography can really elevate your photography to a next level. Everybody takes photos from eye levels. If you gave a kid a camera, they'd be taking photos from a totally different level that we're not used to. And that itself is going to add a lot of interest to the frame. So don't be lazy. Move your feet, go around the frame and take different photos from different angles. Give your viewers something interesting, something different to look at. Now, there are endless amounts of compositions and we could go on this video for ages, golden spirals and triangles and so on, but start off basic, learn the basics, one step at a time. Work with the 3/3 ratio, master it, play with it, make mistakes, see what works and what doesn't work. Then once you've mastered this ratio, then you can start to look at others. Don't overwhelm yourself and try to learn everything at once. You're just going to fall off your bike and it might be difficult to get back on. When we were riding a bike, you didn't try to learn everything at once. First, you just try to balance. Then you try to change gears and do wheelies and so on. Take your time with photography and don't be too harsh on yourself. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope it makes sense and I hope it helps you out. Leave a comment below and I'll get back to you and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and remember to get out there and take those photos.